Okay, well, thank you, Mellissa. I appreciate all of your help, and Jody, your technical assistance today is greatly appreciated. Hopefully everybody can hear me. So happy to be with you. My name is Mellissa Hultstrand, the Minnesota State Relationship Manager for GED, and the session today is focused on updates and several different types of updates. And I will take questions towards the end, but feel free to ask questions in the meantime. And like I said, I would take those at the end. The focus today, like I said, is to give you updates. So first some general updates, and then I'm going to focus on GED Ready Direct, give you some information about vouchers, and show you the updates that we've made inside the student's GED account, as well as the GED.com website. So here we go, updates. Not sure if you've heard or not, but Drew Barrymore has decided to work on getting her GED, and she's doing it alongside 3 of her viewers. And she made this announcement in September. She provided an update on her show in October, and she's going to provide an update on how her 3 viewers and herself are doing next month in December. Just one moment, I just see that there's a little message here, so let me see. Okay, perfect. GED Works. The GED Works has been around for a while now. For those of you who don't know what it's about, it's when companies decide to pay for their employees to get their GED. And what that means is that the employers will pay for their employees to get access to online study materials, access to the official GED Ready practice tests, as well as access to test attempts, taking the tests, and access to a GED advisor if they want to use one. Here on the screen, you can see that UCare, for example, has decided to offer this to all of their employees within Minnesota. Pizza Hut has expanded their locations as well. They've been offering GED Works for a while, but now they're offering it at more locations. 2 Men and a Truck, Jiffy Lube, and United Healthcare recently joined the program as well. And Amazon and Anderson, the window company, will be joining soon. I've put some other logos here on the screen so that you're aware that Total Wine, Cheesecake Factory, KFC, Taco Bell, Stitch Fix are all part of the GED Works program as well. So if you have any students who are working at these companies, check and see if they're aware that their employers are part of the GED Works program and willing to pay for them to earn their GED. If you have students who are looking for a job, you might want to let them know about these companies who are part of the GED Works program. Okay. Along the lines of GED Works, we have updated our information on the website for GED Works. So here is part of the update that you see on the screen. On a regular basis, I get asked, well, what other companies are part of the GED Works program? Well, if you go down to the bottom right of the screen and click on the blue link, you will see a list of all of the companies listed there. And here is the link to the updated information on GED Works. Also wanted to let you know that we've announced our upcoming Tuesdays for Teachers in our upcoming Tuesdays for Teachers PD webinar series topics. So most recently in October and in November, we focused on math. And in December and January, we were focusing on reasoning through language arts. The educators that you work with might not be aware of this. So if you know, so if any of your colleagues are specifically preparing students for the math test, for the RLA test, let them know about this. And even if they didn't get a chance to join the live sessions, they can always access the recordings. So that is available in the Educator portal of our website. In February and March, we will focus on social studies and science. The best way to get informed about what the upcoming Tuesdays for Teachers topics will be is to sign up for our in-session newsletter. It is free. All we need is your email address. And we send that to you electronically around the 10th of each month. To sign up for the in-session newsletter, all you need to do is scroll down towards the bottom of our Educator portal and click on this sign up to test to get the latest news and resources. So beyond getting information about upcoming Tuesdays for Teachers webinars and the links to the previous recordings, then you can also get important updates, information about promotions, research that we've recently done, and interviews. And this is the button that you would need to click on. Again, it's at the bottom of each of the pages in our Educator portal. Also wanted to let you know about the printable flyers that you could access for free to promote your program. So if you go to this link that you see here, it's within our Educator portal, you can download flyers to print and distribute on your own. So these are PDF files. They're available in English and Spanish, and the front of the flyers are customizable to include your program's contact info. So here's a sample of one of the flyers that you could select. And as you can see at the bottom is where it gives you the opportunity to enter the name of your program, the address, hours of operation, phone number, etc. So when you go to the link that I listed on the previous slide and this slide, to access these flyers, you would need to create an account for our GED Print Hub. It's free to create an account. It's free, like I said, to access the flyers, but you just need to create an account, and this will give you the ability to not only select these flyers, but you could also order additional GED brochures, posters, pamphlets, that sort of thing. And I also wanted to let you know, for those of you who have access to GED Manager, you might have realized that in some parts of GED Manager, this search button shows up. And if it's there, that means that once you start entering information in any of the search fields, it won't, or the results won't populate the way that they did before we added that search button. So if you see it, just remember to click it, and then you'll see the results populate within the next year. Well, within the next 6 months to a year, we will be adding this search button to every part of GED Manager, every feature that's in there. So just keep that in mind. And the other thing that I wanted to let you know is that you have the ability to nominate your student for GED Graduate of the Month, or you could let a particular student or students know about this so that they could go to this link and submit their story. Each month, we're selecting a GED graduate with an inspiring story about their GED journey. Winners receive an iPad. They're featured on our social media channels. They also get $1,000 towards post-secondary education. We haven't seen a lot of submissions from Minnesota, so please think about your GED graduates. They don't have to be recent graduates. So for example, those that graduated within the last month, they could be graduates who graduated earlier this year, for example, January. So think about who would be a great candidate for this and encourage them to submit their story. So now what I'm going to do is move on to GED Ready Direct, which is in GED Manager. And last year we piloted this program, and actually several of our Minnesota educators graciously volunteered to do so. So thank you to those that did. And we went live with this at the beginning of the year. So in case you're not aware of what GED Ready Direct is, it solves the problem of keeping track of vouchers. You don't need to use spreadsheets anymore. You don't need to try and figure out whether a voucher was used, who it was used on. So it eliminates that headache. And if you purchase GED Ready vouchers via this method, there's no expiration dates. So let me provide you with some more information about it. So this does allow educators, coordinators to purchase GED Ready tests and assign them directly to students. You do need to have access to GED Manager to do this. So that means that students will access their GED Ready test via the homepage of their GED account. There'll be a tile there that informs them that they have a GED Ready to use, and then they just need to click on the link. Again, there's no spreadsheets of voucher codes that you would need to manage if you went this route, and there's no expiration dates to extend vouchers. So for those of you who are familiar with GED Manager, when you log in, if you have access to do this, From your home page, you'd be able to purchase GED Readies by just selecting this Buy GED Readies button. To the right of the button, you see that it gives you the ability to manage GED Readies, to share them with your colleagues who also have GED Manager access. So in this example, we can see that 10 GED Readies have been purchased. And if we want to assign any of those, you can easily do that by clicking on Manage GED Readies, Assign GED Readies, and you could start entering the information for the particular student that you want to assign the GED Ready to. Just the first few letters of the first or last name will do, and then the results will populate, and then all you would need to do next is then click on the student that you want to assign that voucher to. So in this instance, we can see that there were 10 vouchers, 10 unassigned vouchers. That's now gone to 9 because we've assigned one to this tester that's below. And like I said, if you were the person who's responsible for purchasing GED Readies at your program, you have the ability, say if you wanted to purchase 100 and divvy up that 100 between several educators, you can share the vouchers by just clicking on the share button that you see here. If you wanted to find out more information about GED Ready Direct, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to answer additional questions. We do have an FAQ document. You can see the link here. Please note that bulk tiered pricing is now available, and that right now, if you're purchasing vouchers this way, it has to be done with credit card, but we're trying to get additional payment methods available. And our hope is that this would be available in early 2022, probably around February. I do have some additional information for you along the lines of vouchers. So let's talk about GED test vouchers and GED Ready vouchers. So for the programs that are looking to purchase GED test vouchers to pay for the test, your way of doing that is by going to the voucher store or by going to Marketplace. And the one thing that you need to keep in mind is that these vouchers, these GED test vouchers, expire 1 year from purchase. But we can easily extend the expiration dates of unused vouchers or replace expired unused vouchers. And extending the expiration dates is much preferred and faster. So again, the test vouchers can be purchased through GED Marketplace. If you do purchase them through GED Marketplace, it is by credit card only. If you purchase it via the voucher store, you could do so with the following methods of payment. Now, when it comes to GED Ready vouchers, the best price for GED Ready bulk purchases is by adult ed programs. You could also, but know that if you purchase them through our programs, keep in mind that they expire 18 months from purchase, but we can always extend that. The expiration date for unused vouchers, we could also issue replacements if they've expired. But I think the thing to keep in mind is that it's easier and faster to extend a voucher that hasn't expired yet. So for those of you that are responsible for keeping track of vouchers at your programs, take a look at the vouchers that you have. Do any of them expire in the next 2-3 months? If so, reach out to me, send me an email. My email address is right here, and attach that list of vouchers so we could get those extended for you. And same thing, if the vouchers, unused vouchers have expired, send me the email with the list, and I will work on getting that taken care of for you. But basically, it's easier to extend vouchers than to take care of unused vouchers that have expired, because basically what we need to do then is to create a new voucher to issue to you. And I'm not sure what is happening here, but my screen is freezing up. So I am going to just take the video off to see if this helps. So let's try that. Okay, so hopefully you can still see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. So inside the student's GED account, I mentioned that we made several changes. So I do want to take a look at that. So let's start with the student's homepage, their dashboard. So now when students have an alert, they not only see it in the top right-hand corner of their GED account when they log in, they'll see that bell. And if there's an alert, then it will show up in red with a number indicating how many alerts that they have, but it also will now show up in the top middle of their homepage. And then to find out what the alert is, all they need to do is click on this arrow that's here, or they could click on that bell that's in the top right-hand corner. Also, you might not be aware of this, but there are optional questions that students are now asked once they do create accounts. So basically trying to get an idea of what their goals are. When is it that they plan to earn their GED? Is it as soon as possible? Is it in the next few months? Is it in the next year? And then we ask them, what subject is it that they want to focus on first? Based on their answers to those questions, if they choose to answer them, then they'll see what they've entered here, as well as their next steps. So in this example, I created a fake account. I said that I wanted to earn my GED by the end of the year. And I said that I wanted to start with social studies. And I chose December 22nd as my goal date. This is not set in stone. They could, they don't have to, pay attention to this goal date. It's okay if it changes, but this was the goal that I had set for myself in this fake account. And because of that, the system is giving me an idea of what I should keep in mind because of my answers to these two questions. So it's number one, telling me I should pay attention to this alert that's here. I should prepare for my social studies test. I should study. I should try to schedule my test by December 12th. I should take a look at the test tips that are available in my account. And I should try to continue studying up to the test date. Along the top of the student's account, every time that they log in, they see this bar. And this was the other way that they're notified by alerts that I mentioned here. This has been the case from since 2014. Well, they will see this little bell. If there are any alerts, they'll see a number that will be highlighted in red. And this indicates that this particular tester has 3 alerts. Always to the left, we've had most of these options that are here, home, study, and my scores, but we've added more. So I wanted to let you know about this because, students might not be aware of what's available in their account. So I think it's good to know in case you get asked any questions. Let's first take a look at what we've updated in the edit profile section of the student's account. So once they log into GED, again, they'll see the profile option in the top right-hand corner of their account. They'll see their GED ID number. And I'm not sure if all of you are aware of this or not, but actually the GED ID number is always 16 digits long. The first 8 digits always indicate the date that the account was created. It's followed by a dash, 4 random digits, another dash, and 4 random digits. And testers have the ability to edit parts of their profile. What's particularly new in this section is that we have accommodations listed here as an option. So I do want to show you, scheduling, appointments. So appointments now looks like this. If they do schedule an appointment, the information about that appointment is going to be listed on their dashboard, but then that would only show if they had 5 appointments scheduled, for example, it's going to show like the first one that they have in that series of 5. But if they go to this appointment section, then it's going to list all 5 that they have coming up. If they click on accommodations, this is their way of opting in or out of accommodations now after they have already set up their account. So if they had selected yes to wanting to test with accommodations and they've decided that they no longer want to test with accommodations, they can click on no here and then click that continue button. The system will automatically save their response. Or if they had selected no previously and then they want to change their answer to yes, they can do that. And once they've selected yes, they're going to see more information about the steps that they need to take. Also in the edit profile section is the ability to look at previous orders. And what I mean about previous orders is if the student themselves, for example, have purchased a GED Ready, or if they purchased one of our prep products like GED Flash, and they maybe forgot when that product expires, they can look up that information by just entering 2 of the 3 pieces of information that we're asking for here. Okay, so also, again, on the homepage in the dashboard, we've made some changes to below what you can see here. So if you were to scroll down, if the student were to scroll down below this, they would then see this. And there will always be different tiles giving them information about different sorts of things. If they wanted more information about the actual GED test, they could click on see how the GED works. But then you can also see that these categories have been added here. Free practice questions, find GED classes, study on your own, and schedule tests. If they click on see how GED works, then they're going to see this information. So it lets them know that we have 4 tests, the cost of the tests, that we've had over 20 million grads, and they can find additional information and videos of recent GED graduates. If they click to the categories that you saw at the very bottom of the home page, for example, free practice questions, this has now been added, so they can access 10 free practice questions for each of the 4 subjects. If they do want to study on their own, it gives them information about different products that are available. This is our GED Plus product. And in that study section, it would also give them information about GED Ready or GED Flash. And then in study materials, they could select any one of the 4 subjects. And then they'll be able to see some information about that test right up at the top. So for example, how long they're allowed to take the test, how many parts, how many topics. And then when they scroll down below, they can access the study guides. They can see information about how to write a good extended response. They can also access those 10 free practice questions that I showed you. They could access that here as well. And information about our official practice test, GED Flash. If they're not part of an adult ed program and they were to click on find a class, they would see the programs that are closest to the zip code that they entered when they created their GED account. Because everybody that creates a GED account has to provide an address. So based on what they entered, whatever zip code they entered, then it would show those prep centers that are closest to that zip code. And if they're interested in online GED prep courses, then they could find information about that by clicking on this button. And sorry, my screen is freezing up again slightly here. It's going in and out. Can everybody see my screen? Mellissa, can you still see it okay?
Yep, there are no issues on our end.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for confirming. So also, towards the bottom of the student's account, when they click on study, and also in the top left bar that they see in their GED account, if they were to click on study there, they have the ability to preview the tests by making a selection of any of the 4 that are here. So they would see a free practice test, which is basically a quarter of the length of the actual test. It would have answer explanations for each question, and they have access to view the computer test tutorials. So gives them the opportunity to learn the computer skills that they would need for the different question types on the GED test. Again, this was not on the homepage in the dashboard of the student's account before. It was in a different part of their GED account, and still is, but it makes it easier for them to access. So if they were to click on the view tutorial button, then it would take them to, if they wanted to see the practice RLA test, this is what that first screen would look like. They would just need to click start and click through that test. And the GED test tutorial, when they click that first button, this is what they would see, and then they would just need to click the next button down in the bottom right. So I mentioned that that bar across the top of the GED student's account that we added the more section there. So if a student was to click on more, they would see these 4 options. So just wanted to quickly show you what that looks like if they were to click on any of these subcategories here. So if they clicked on about the test, they'll get more information about each of the 4 tests. The format shows up the same way for all 4. So an idea as to what the test topics are, how much time to take the test, format, price. And also in this section, they could find out more about test scores. So it lets them know that they need to score 145, but that scoring higher can have additional benefits. If they clicked on the Learn More button, then they will now see this. So it gives them the breakdown of GED plus College Ready, GED plus College Ready plus credit. And then if they wanted even more information about this, they could click on this button that you see here. Also in the More section, we've updated the test tips. So now when you go to test tips, there are 3 different categories. And in Test Center tips, as you see here, this is what it looks like now. If you click on what to bring, this is the information that the students will see. And if they click on the 3rd option, which is Get to Know the Test, then they could access that computer tutorial by clicking on that blue button that you see at the top of the screen. They have the ability to access our online calculator tutorial. They have the ability to look at the video for the calculator, and they could check out a guide on how to use that calculator. They can access the formula sheet. And then also now, this wasn't actually here before, but we recently added it. It shows them how to change the on-screen color of their test, the text size of their test, and how to highlight the text on their test as well. So again, if you have any students that are anxious about taking the math test, just know that they have a lot of tools and resources within their GED account. So now I am going to talk about the updates that have been made to our GED website. I think it might be a good time to stop and take any questions if I have any.
Yeah, Mellissa, this is Jody. There are a few questions that have come up in the chat that I think you might be able to answer. Yeah. One, going back to the vouchers. The question is, do you extend vouchers that were bought in another store, not through GED or Pearson VUE?
So when they say another store, like, do they mean, I guess I'm not really sure, because we have our marketplace store.
Yeah, it looks like it was Larissa who asked that question. So Larissa, if you want to say in the chat a little bit more about where those vouchers came from or more info.
Yeah.
Maybe we can circle back to that one. So I'll give another one to you, Mellissa.
Okay.
A question about those free printable program flyers that folks can add their program info to. Is there any plan to have those translated into any other languages besides Spanish?
Our marketing team is looking at translating them into additional languages. They haven't made a decision yet on which languages they will also translate them into, but they are planning to do that.
Okay, thank you. Looks like Larissa added in the chat that vouchers may have come through New Readers Press. Does that make sense to you, Mellissa?
Yes.
And if so, can those be extended, I think is the question.
Yeah, so actually I'm not sure, but Larissa, I will look into that for you, and you'll see my email address at the end of the presentation. So if you could just send me an email so then I have your email address and I can get back to you with the answer. That would be great.
Yep, thanks, Mellissa. So then there was just one more question about the resources available through the GED student account that you were going over. So the question is, are these resources more for those students that are working on their own?
No, I mean, there definitely are some resources that are there for students that are working on their own, but I mean, really it's for all students, because we find that even students that are working with adult ed programs don't realize the wealth of resources that are in their account. So yeah, I would say a few of them are geared towards students that are working on this on their own. Like, for example, the information about, GED Plus, which gives them access to an advisor who will kind of walk them through like their next steps, which subject to focus on, that sort of thing. But I think overall, the tools and resources that you see there are great for those that are working with adult prep centers too.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Mellissa. So those are all the questions that we had, but we just have Darla from RAVE, Rosemont Apple Valley, ABE, also expressing interest in the answer to the question about vouchers purchased through New Readers Press. Yeah. So we will make sure that Mellissa has the chat afterwards, so that, if anybody wants any kind of information from Mellissa, go ahead and put that in the chat and then she can follow up with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So off the top of my head, I don't think so, but I'm going to double check on that for you. So yes, if you can give me your, reach out to me and give me your contact information, that would be great. And
you know what, Mellissa, do you want to take one more question? There is one more about GED Manager, or do you want to keep going?
Oh yes, for sure. Go ahead.
So a question here from Pam. Let's see. Mellissa, I think you also mentioned about making notes on GED Manager. I think we have a read-only status. Is this something that will be changed or made available to all who have access to GED Manager?
So I guess in terms of making notes in GED Manager, if you have what we call student authorized view, which is Prep Connect access, so that gives you the ability to see score information for those students who decide to share their scores with you. You do have the ability to enter notes in terms of like when you've contacted the student, or if, for example, the student has shown up at your prep center and you or one of your colleagues has been working with them, but then all of a sudden they don't show up anymore, and your prep center has made several attempts to reach out. Like, there is a section for you to enter information about the date that you reached out, how you did, whether it was by email or by phone. So it allows you to make those sorts of edits, but no other types of edits within GED Manager. You can't make you can't make any notes when you have that type of access.
Great, thanks. So it looks like, Mellissa, that is all the questions in the chat at this point.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yep.
And my screen just froze here slightly. I'm guessing nobody else can see that, and then this is just on my end still, is that correct?
That's correct. We're still seeing the GED.com slide.
Okay.
No worries.
Thank you. So moving on to GED.com, what changes have we made there? So along the top of GED.com, just like along the top of students' accounts, you can see that we have these options here along the top bar. So blog is actually new. Grads and transcripts we've updated, and we've made some updates to about the test and study as well. But before I show you what those updates are, I wanted to point out, because not everybody is aware of this, but right to the left of the blue educators and admins bar, you can see that it says English US. If anyone wants to view our website in Spanish, they can do so by just clicking on that little arrow and then selecting Spanish US, and then they'll be able to see the entire website translated into Spanish. So just wanted to point that out. That's been around for a while though, but I'm not sure if everybody knows that on this call, so that's why I'm pointing it out. So to create a GED account, when you go to GED.com, most students will just click on sign up, that sign up button, which is great. You can definitely do that to create the account. But when you scroll down, we've added a sign up option here as well on that home page. So just wanted to point that out, that that's been added. And then now when you click on that first of 4 options along the top, which is about the test, you'll see these different categories here: test subjects, price and state rules, test scores, scheduling, and online testing. So for test subjects, more information has been added about each of the 4 subjects. And when students scroll down to any one of the particular subjects, they could click on the link to access more information about that particular test. And this is great, especially for students and the family and friends that are helping them, through this process, that want to be there, they want to be supportive, but they don't know about the test. So this gives them an excellent way to just kind of look at what it is involved in their loved one going through the process. So if you were to click on any of those subjects, here's an example of what math looks like if you click on additional details. So you have your sample question, gives you an example of what you need to know. Also, price and state rules. This is great for anybody that it's great for students, it's great for educators, it's great for support staff, because if you get asked a question where you're not entirely sure, okay, what exactly is the rule for that? Here in Minnesota, I know so much about, what the price is, or I know so much about, how they can go about getting their credentialing documents. But I've been asked this question, I have no idea what the answer is. Well, within this section about the test, they could easily access the price and state rules section. And they would just need to, click on the drop-down arrow, click on Minnesota. They'll see that it's $36 to take the test online, $30 to take the test at a test center. But also within this section, they will see additional information about what testing is like in Minnesota. And here is information about the scores, if they're looking for that, or if somebody's new to preparing students for the GED test. It's a great place to get the information. And as you may have noticed, this is information that's also in the student's account. It also gives students information about scheduling, and then down at the bottom, information about accommodations as well. In the About the Test section, there is a category on online testing. So we've updated this several times since we launched OP testing last year. So there are more videos now, which gives the tester an excellent idea as to what's involved with OP testing. The videos are not long by any means. They're on average about 4 minutes in length. And if they scroll down, they would see what's needed to take the online test. So for example, the type of computer that they'll need to run a system check on the day of, but they should also run it prior to scheduling, that they'll need to have a private workspace, etc. And down below this bar, there's even more information about online testing and things to keep in mind. That's also located inside their account. Now, when they click, when you go to the study section of our GED.com website, there's all these categories. So GED classes, if they click on that, they would be able to see which adult ed centers are in their area. If they wanted to find information about online classes, they could click here. More information about the practice tests, practice questions, GED Plus, test previews. And if they wanted to purchase anything, they would just click on the category that's at the bottom. Online study classes has been added. So interestingly enough, there are many students who have reached out to us since the pandemic started, where they are working with prep centers, but also want access to online classes. So that information has been added here. GED Ready information is here as well, and information about GED Flash. Those sample tests, they can access them here as well for the 4 subjects in both languages. And if you were to go click on shop, it would take you to GED Marketplace. And as I continue here, the next category along the top of the GED.com website is grads and transcripts. So we recently made updates to this. I want to show you what they look like. When you click on grads and transcripts, you would see this screen now. And so basically, two options. Are you a GED grad or are you a third party? If you click GED grad, it's going to ask you, where did you earn your GED? You'd click on the drop-down arrow, you would make a selection, and then it's going to ask you, when did you earn your GED? Was it 2014 and later or before 2014? So if the student selected 2014 or later, it's going to say log into your GED account to request your transcript. And that's because anybody that's earned their GED from 2014 and later will always see the order duplicates button in their account on their homepage when they log into their GED account, as well as in the My Score section. And they would just need to click on that button to find out more information about ordering additional documents. Now, so once you click on log into GED account, sorry, let me show you what this looks like. You're going to see this. A Minnesota tester is going to see this. Congratulations on passing all 4 GED tests. The Minnesota Department of Education will automatically send your diploma and record via US mail. Please make sure you have your mailing address updated in your account. So what I meant to say is that once you've earned your GED after January 1st of 2014, they're always going to see this congratulations message. And then if they click on that Learn More button, then they're going to find information about ordering additional documents. But like I said, you get asked, where did you earn your GED? So they'll see this messaging. If they said before 2014, visit the official Minnesota Department of Education site to order your official high school equivalency diploma and/or transcript. And then they could just click on this blue button that would take them straight to the state site. If you get asked questions from anybody who has earned their GED in a different state, and they're not sure the process that they would need to follow, then you would want to direct them to this grads and transcript section, because based on what state they select, the information is going to be different. And now it's easier for third parties to check and see if somebody has earned their GED. They would click on the third party link and then find out what they need to do next.
Looks like we have 2 minutes left, Mellissa.
Oh, okay, sorry. So the blog is brand new, so I wanted to show you that. So this is great for educators. It's great for students because we've added different topics. You can see the topics on the right-hand side. Within each of these topics are several different articles. So if you clicked, for example, on math, you would see, these are some of the articles that you would see. So again, like for your teachers, your math educators, they might not be aware of this, might want to let them know that this is available there. So again, different articles within the different sections. Here are 2 of the articles that show up for RLA. And I wanted to let you know that our FAQs have been updated. So when you scroll down to the bottom of GED.com, you'll see some of the categories that you saw before, and but some new categories. And within each of these categories, we've added more questions. So you can click on the question or click on the plus sign that's to the right of that, and then you would see the answer. So, you know, great for students, great for educators, great for those family and friends that are trying to be supportive and trying to understand what it is that their loved one is going through when it comes to taking the test. And that is it for me in terms of slides. Any other questions, Jody?
No, I don't think so, Mellissa. I think we got them all earlier.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. I'll try and see. Oh, perfect. I think you guys can see me. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer your questions. Thank you and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much, Mellissa.